Hey, welcome to our broadcast today. And here in the studio with us is Tracy Tennant. Tracy, tell us the name of the book that you've written recently.
It's called Confessions of an Ex-Mormon, What I Wish I Knew When I Left the Church.
Okay, so you used a lot of your story to help other people leaving Mormonism to understand some of the issues and the things you have to navigate to successfully make that journey. So one of them is that I love your chapter on how we have this new freedom in Christ, because Mormonism is very structured and very rules-oriented and a lot of don'ts, do's and don'ts. And we come into faith in Christ and we experience this grace that we're not saved by keeping all those rules. And so now we feel like I'm free. I can try different things. I can do different things. Right. So you phrased that. I love the way you put that in terms of like an adolescent phase. Tell us what you mean by that.
We have a tendency to feel like rebellious teenagers, once you get out of maybe you were in a very structured home life and you weren't allowed to watch certain things or do certain things, and now all of a sudden you go off to college and you've got all these experiences. It's like, wow, and then you jump off the deep end.
Yeah. You kind of go nuts because now you can.
Right.
You couldn't before. So it's almost like in leaving Mormonism, if it was forbidden before, then now I've got to do it.
Right.
Right.
It's fair game. What? Coffee's not a sin? What? I can have a glass of wine with my steak dinner, or I can wear sleeveless shirts.
Right.
But you almost feel you feel resentful on the one hand, maybe that all those years you were denied.
You're missing out.
Missing out, yeah. And now all of a sudden it's easy to go overboard. Right. Where now you're not just wearing shorts, you're wearing shorts that you don't dare bend over with, you know, or you're not just wearing sleeveless shirts, but you're wearing shirts that are so low cut that people almost have to pull their little children off the street that they're not.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I think, coming out of Mormonism, we really have to learn how to navigate that freedom that we have, because the rules aren't just going to help. We have to learn some principles. We have to learn boundaries for ourselves rather than just being told what to do. That's a great topic. But I think one of the things that sometimes we want to kind of do is we have this new freedom. We think we can do all this. And so we kind of want to maybe flaunt it a little bit to our stuck-up Mormon friends and family. What is that like?
Sometimes we do it as a carrot on the stick,
Oh, if only you knew that you could drink coffee,
Exactly. I mean, we almost do it as a way, in kind of a twisted way in our minds, because we're still navigating, we're still confused. Right. We don't know how to bring our friends out of Mormonism. Right. And so it's like, hey, look over here, I can drink coffee, I can drink beer, I can dress like a hooker and still go to heaven, booyah, And we're thinking that all this thing is going to entice.
We think that's people. Attractive to them.
Exactly, but it has the opposite effect.
And so in reality, how are they responding to that?
What the thoughts of are the faithful Mormons? They're looking at you and they're saying, wow, they really did leave so that they could sin. They left just so that they could do X, Y, Z.
Right. And that justifies their view of you as a former, as apostate. Right. And so all they see is like, oh, see, how far that person has gone down the tubes, right? Yeah.
And now you're being held up as an example as they tell their little children, now, did you see what happened to Aunt Tracy?
When she left the church, look what happened.
Church, and so you don't want to go there because you're going to lose all your values and whatever. They're going to use you as their family home evening object lesson.
Okay, no, that's great. And so there is legitimate freedoms that we have in Christ where the Bible doesn't spell out in black and white a lot of things. So we want to live in that freedom as Christians, but we also interact with other people. So how do we navigate that? I know we maybe kind of, as we mature, we learn that we don't have to be so out there, we learn maybe with the boundaries. How do we navigate that balance between being authentic and at the same time being appropriate.
Yeah, just keep in mind that you wouldn't have a problem if there was a dress code for a certain event. You wouldn't expect to wear a tuxedo or a prom dress to a ball game.
Right.
You wouldn't expect that you could walk into a wedding wearing nothing but a bikini and a smile. There are restaurants you go into that say the right to refuse service if you're not dressed in a certain way, and you don't feel resentful about it. You just say, oh, well, that's rational, that's logical.
You don't feel like, well, I'm going to go to that wedding, I'm going to prove something
Right.
by showing up in my swimsuit, right? And I'll prove them what's wrong with them.
So you can still be authentic to yourself. You don't have to feel like, oh, well, I can't go to if I go to the family reunion, then I've got to wear a dress down to my knees or my ankles. I've got to cover everything up. No, you can still, if it's the summertime, wear a sleeveless shirt. You can still wear shorts, but the shorts, you don't have to wear them up the yin-yang, as they say. You can still be appropriate and respectful to the beliefs of your Mormon friends, and yet be authentic to yourself. And here's something that I just thought of too. If you were traveling, let's say you were traveling to a predominantly Muslim country, or whatever, you wouldn't feel resentful or put upon if you had to dress in a certain way just to respect their culture. So what makes us think that just because we're ex-Mormon, or just because we believe that the church isn't true, that this now gives us the license to just flaunt whatever and shove things in people's faces?
That's true.
Just have common courtesy. That's the important thing.
That is, and that reminded me of something the Apostle Paul said. He said, I'll become all things to all people in order to win someone to faith. And so he was willing to make adjustments in his freedom. He says, I'm willing to act like a Gentile when I'm around Gentiles, and like a Jewish person when I'm around Jewish people. Not being inauthentic or faking, but he says, you make lifestyle choices in order to win someone to Christ. And so that's why I don't mow the lawn on Sunday. I'm totally free in Christ to mow the lawn on Sunday. But I don't, because I know my neighbors would not understand the freedom that I have. So I think this is a great topic to think about as you exit, and now you have lifestyle choices that face you, that you're not dictated by Mormonism anymore. And so we want to encourage you to think about how you can be authentic but still be respectful and still make appropriate choices. They don't rob you of your freedom in Christ, but they have a higher purpose. And so think about that. Maybe talk about this with a friend, with a mentor. Use the questions below to process this with someone. And we trust that God's going to help you to figure this out and to just continue to have great relationships with people in the church and people that you might be helping to leave the church. So thanks for watching today.